let's look at how did you feel when members of those who won on the platform of Labour Party, we are just defecting, moving from people who wouldn't have had the opportunity, but cashed in on the momentum of Labour Party in 2023, got to the National Assembly, got to the State House of Assembly. When they started defecting, how did you feel? And why were you helpless, so to say?
Well, I wasn't really helpless, but I must say it was very regrettable. It was very painful. I felt highly betrayed because I had thoughts. I had a lot of opportunity personally as the national chairman of the party to have made fortunes for myself and the family. But because we believe in the philosophy of a new country, a new brand of politics, new faces in the political space, because most of the people that won were young people. They were also people who were new in politics. So we probably thought we would have used them as a foundation to start a new era, a new phase of politics in the country. And so when they started defecting, I was shocked beyond my bone marrow that Nigerians are really like this. And it took me back to the philosophy I used to jettison, that leadership is a reflection of the people, that you can't bring people from the moon to come and lead the people. That people who lead are the reflection of the people. So I was thinking, it means that, so Nigerians are like this, so we can't have Nigerians with dignity, What even shocked me was that immediately they won into the House, instead of forced to the 35 or 8 to be a monolithic voice in the House, they started running after the APC members and were bringing APC members to me to support for the leadership of the party, my own members. And it was very regrettable. And after that, don't forget that when they approved the sum of, is it 100 million, 100 something million for the vehicles, the party stated that they should not take those vehicles. They should start by defending the party and say no to it. Some of my members responded to me that the vehicle was for them to carry out an assignment. And that's where my disappointment started. I had thought that we would have been meeting, consolidate the 35, consolidate the 8 with the governor and OT and the presidential candidate together, begin to build. After all, Tinubu started as a state governor and started expanded, and took over the country. Today he's president. So I had expected that with one governor, 35 House of Rep, 35 House of Rep and 8 senators would have been enough to lay a foundation for a new political philosophy, a new political ideology that is people-driven, that would have been a dominant voice. Don't get me wrong. Majority will always have their way, but the minority would have their say. So what I expected of the 35 and the 8 is not to have majority in there, but to have a voice. And I want to believe that a governor, 8 senators, 35 rep was enough voice to have made the difference in the country. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with due respect to him, was one voice in Lagos. And today, he's president of the country. PDP never rested with that one voice. And today they have taken over. But in our own case, we find our people who suddenly started flirting with APC and even joined INEC to decimate the leadership of the party. Immediately INEC said tenure had expired. They were all clamoring to share the leadership of the NWC. Peter Obi wanted chairman, Aloti wanted secretary. And so they destroyed the party. And ironically, when they went to Umuahia to set up the critical committee, INEC refused to recognize it. That's the paradox. That's the irony of it. So at the end of the day, what they wanted to achieve failed woefully. And you know them. You are a journalist. You know the history. You know everything that played out.
Okay, I will return to that. I will return to what do you think was responsible for that push to sack the National Working Committee. But let me return to the National Assembly. defection. And when people win on the platform of a party and just midway they dump the party, what do you think is the weakness in our electoral acts that cannot make it possible that if you defect, you lose your seat automatically and go and try popularity test again?
I don't think it's a matter of law. I think it's a matter of the practitioners. Well, it could also be related to law, but in practice, it is not being defended. For instance, the law says the speaker or the presiding officer has to declare the seat vacant for it to be contested. But it's like giving somebody one thing with one hand and taking it with another hand, because the ruling party will usually produce the presiding officers. And in most cases, those defecting from the party with the minority will always defect to the ruling party. So why will the ruling party work against itself? And then the judiciary too have not also helped matters in this respect. Because when some of those matters went to court, the court have declared that they don't have power to declare the seat vacant. That is for the presiding officer to do. So, but by and large, I think we all hands need to be on deck, knowing that whatever position you sit on today is not forever. I mean, those people a lot of these legislators who amended the 2022 Electoral Act, that you can't, after submitting the register, you can't move to another political party. We all caught in the web. They have all lost their primaries and they have no place to go. But thank God for the Federal High Court decision recently that have nullified that provision. Otherwise, by now, they would have all been in a mess. And they made it themselves. They wrote it and signed it. And the law started with them. So I think that when we are in office, we should allow patriotism, we should allow national interest to drive our actions rather than pecuniary benefit and what we can get in the immediate. So allowing people to defect from one party to another party is not helping our democracy. It's not helping the growth and development of multi-party system in Nigeria. Because usually, who are the people that lost their members? They are the minority parties. People hardly leave the ruling party for the minority party. So in other words, when you encourage that kind of arrangement, you are reducing the scope of participation, and by that, killing multi-party democracy in the country. So I think that we need to look at our laws. We need to change our behavior. We need to allow national interest to override every other sectional, partisan interest that we have. That's how the country will grow. As we are going presently, where everybody is parochial, looking at your interest alone, instead of the interest of the country is the one that suffers.
What do you think? Let's return to that question. What do you think was responsible for people interested in pushing out the National Working Committee which you were leading?
Well, I think that they will answer it more, because every person has an answer for their own behavior. But I think it is probably quest for control, quest to have the party, quest to have party leadership in your pocket. And I want to say that that's what has destroyed our system, the whole of our system. Because when people win election, they want to control the party structure. So that even where they do badly, where they don't perform, they will have a platform on which to ride on in subsequent elections and have party sponsorship in the other elections. So I want to believe that probably they feel that they have not done very well, probably, and they want to have control over the party so that they can all come back, whether they perform or not, in the 2027 general election. Probably. I think they are in the best position to answer that. Because for me, I didn't see what we didn't do for them. We supported them, gave them all we had, gave them the platform without collecting money from them. And I want to be contradicted. Gave them opportunity, defended them, followed them to the courts, fought with them, and they won. And none of them, and I want this to be repeated, none of them ever contributed to the party. All the years that we had these people in the National Assembly, including the governor, no single contribution was made by them to support the party. It's unfortunate and it's ironical, but that's the situation that we find ourselves in.
Well, of course, history will judge the Labour Party crisis. And when it does, what will be, if any, your biggest regret in handling P2B and the crisis of the party?
I want to say very clearly that history will judge me rightly when they come to estray the general circumstances of the party. I want to believe that I did my best, made all the sacrifices for the growth and development of that party. I have no regret whatsoever. I believe that my actions, my decisions were taken dispassionately in the interest of the party. Dispassionately. Even decisions that will affect me as a person were taken in the interest of the party. A lot of pecuniary benefit would have come to us personally, but we forgo them because we wanted the party to grow, because we wanted to make that mark. So I want to believe that when history comes to judge the circumstances of the Labour Party, I will be exonerated and history will judge me very, very well.
The opposition parties, what do you think is the problem of the opposition in Nigeria today that has made it almost impossible for the opposition to be assertive?
Well, the opposition, just like what has happened to Labour Party that you see, for opposition parties to be very strong, the people must also play their role. I feel that the people themselves are not playing the role that they ought to play to make opposition parties to be very strong. Look at the trajectory of Labour Party. Look at what has happened to us. With all the sacrifices we made in the 2022-2023 general election, those who were beneficiaries of that action, you can see how they have behaved to us. And so, the behavior of our people, those who are elected on the platform of political parties and so on, is responsible for why the opposition political parties are not very strong. People now look at it. People are conscious of what will happen to them. If I go out of my way and lead an onslaught, if there is a backlash, who will defend you? Who will stand by you? In my own case, everybody abandoned me. The people that would have teamed up with the leadership of the party to defend the party when they came after the party started struggling to share the leadership of the party. Started struggling for the position and didn't care about what happens to us. So people who are watching, what do you think they will do if they have that opportunity? And I'm sure today that all other political parties have learned from what happened to us in the 2022-2023 general election and will be more conscious of their behavior. So generally, there are a lot of factors that is not making the opposition parties to be strong. And the issue of finance, running a political party and running the election in Nigeria is very expensive, which a lot of opposition political parties may not have. Deep pockets these days drive the process. And that's why we wanted to build a party that is different, where you use the momentum of the people, raise the consciousness of the people, since democracy is about the people. Make them know that they have the power, get their support. And then by the time you elect people into offices, let those people also be conscious of the people, work for them. By doing this, over time, you'll be able to build a strong opposition political party. Opposition party is not easy to build. It takes time to build, and it's a gradual process.
What do you make of those who have accused you of working for both the APC in a way when they see you and the FCT minister?
Well, the FCT minister is my friend. I have known the FCT minister for many years. And what is even wrong to meet with the FCT minister and discuss? I live in FCT. He is my friend. Peter Obi, on the other hand, I have also been transversing all around, meeting the RFIs, meeting the articles.
They were in the same party before.
Meeting others and interfacing. Peter Obi was in PDP when I was interfacing with him. So there's nothing, people just make noise out of nothing. If I have any reason to work with the APC, I will say so publicly. And I will do my analysis of it. I will say why I want to do it. I won't do it in hiding. I won't do it in the secret. I will do it in the open. So, for those who bring such propaganda, I laugh at them. I don't take them serious. I see them as people who want cheap popularity. Of course, I do what I want to do.
This APC government, what is one thing you think they've really not done well? And how would you assess them if you had to assess and rate?
Well, the only thing I think they have not done properly is the issue of security. I think that they need to do more in the area of security. Life and property is very important. And I think that whatever it will cost them to defend life and properties, I think that they need to do more about it. In terms of the economy, I think they are not doing badly in the area of the economy like people have said.
The Nigerians seem not to be feeling the impact.
Like our reserve is increasing and so on and so forth. So they also need to work hard to see that such economic policies put food on the table for Nigerians.
If you have one advice for them, what would that advice be?
We appeal to them to take the issue of security seriously. Security of life and property is the principal purpose of government. So we appeal to the Commander-in-Chief to deploy more efforts in ensuring the safety of life and properties in Nigeria.
As we wrap up, do you see the possibility of defeating Tinubu in 2027? Have you reflected on that, the possibility? And if yes, what is optimism anchored on?
Well, I've not given it a serious thought, but in the political space, anything can happen. So let people go and work hard. They too should work hard. You know, in politics, everybody defend themselves. So the few months ahead of us will be very interesting.